Cause, oof, bro. Oh man, yes, cartoons. Yay. Man.
Today,
oh my God, bro. We did that though. We did that, bro. All right, where were we at? Where were we at? We were at this one that was burned them all time.
Hello, Internet.
Oof,
Welcome
man.
to Game Theory and page
Yo, this is
20
no
of our
joke,
final
bruh.
FNAF timeline. This is getting ridiculous. Last time we covered William Afton's rise as a serial killer. How the loss of his young son in 1983 caused him to make one fateful promise that would ultimately serve as his driving force for decades.
Nah, I feel good now, honestly. Honestly, bro. If we watched the look, internets. I'll tell you this right now. That wasn't that bad. Videos like back in the day, bro. Back in the day when scariest videos. This right here. If we watched anything out of this top 10 video, I promise you we would not be sleeping, bro. We would not be sleeping. You feel me? This stuff is way too scary. That's next level even for me. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting y'all through that. I'm not doing that. You feel me? So I decided, like, let's watch something tame, bro. So now we watching something tame.
An obsession,
you feel me?
Would lose himself
I put on cartoons, but
lashes out against Henry's
I put on cartoons, but I get copyrighted, and I'm not trying to get copyrighted.
The first domino
you
to
feel
fall
me?
in a long sequence of events
Man.
that ultimately destroys William's life and the lives of those around him. That
was good though.
Afton a taste for blood.
We finished it.
In the deaths of 10 more children across.
You finished it, bro. Watch the full video.
Children go on to possess animatronics, giving Afton his first exposure to Remnant and the potential solution for bringing his son back to life. The need to learn more about this miraculous power leads him to produce the Funtime animatronics, as well as their capture devices. Robots designed to bring kids to him for experimentation and collection of more Remnant. Except there was one thing that
is Remnant like they souls?
His daughter's curiosity. He made the robots too appealing, and it would cost him Elizabeth's life. Now with 2 children to put back together, Afton was more desperate and crazed than ever, returning to the pizzerias to steal the possessed metal still living inside their walls. What he didn't account for, though, were the ghosts, forcing him to pay for the sins
My
of
bro
his
got
past.
jumped by
When
some
last we left
ghosts,
him,
bro.
William was spring-locked, bleeding to death behind a secret wall. Gone, but certainly not forgotten, as we're about to see in today's video. Today, we're finishing up Chapter 2 of our story, wrapping up the Afton era. Over the next 6 pages, we switch our focus to the other main character of the franchise, Mike, a young boy dealing with the fallout of a stupid childhood decision with tragic consequences.
I found out that the Mike in FNAF 1 is Afton's son. It is. Which is kind of weird because, like, why are you working at your dad's establishment if you know that's where you got your brother killed? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. Maybe he just needed a job. Maybe he needed a job.
Now, before we begin,
no, Mike from the game. Mike from the game.
We won't
that
be
Mike.
finishing the timeline today. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to, but covering FNAF VR, AR, and Security Breach wound up taking me an additional 9 pages of script. And I've already made you wait long enough for this part, so I just had to make the executive call to break this one up into 2. Don't worry, that part is already written. It is already recorded. It is just in the process of being edited. It is a hefty episode, so mark it on your calendar.
I forgot. Oh, there's a hair in here.
On March 25th. It's also coming complete with a
long
live
hair
talk back where we go back over everything from the past couple episodes, as well as having ourselves some very special guests. So overall, that one should be a lot of fun. Fair warning, though, the conclusions we've reached that solve Security Breach, they are controversial. I feel good about them. Like, I think that we've locked in on a lot of the answers here, but they're gonna raise a lot of discussion. Let's just say that you're either gonna love that episode or hate it. I don't really think there's gonna be much in between on that one. Anyway, without any further ado, let's cover a chunk of the timeline that's a lot less controversial. Let's meet Mike.
Alright.
William still wasn't back. Weird.
Fishman Island, isn't that
sometimes traveled for work, disappearing for days on end.
Isn't Fishman Island like
there was some sort of notice?
Which one is that?
Post-it, something. It's not like Michael and his father were close.
That's pre-time skip.
But as a household of 2 suffering men coping with years of tragedy and loss, there was at least some element of communication between the 2 of them. They were united by a name and a shared pain. This time, though, things felt different. William had left nothing.
Post? Really?
His absence was longer.
Oh, it is.
Just silence.
It is.
Something had happened.
Heard that one sucked. sucks though. Her arc is terrible. Everybody skips that one.
Safety checks, backup plans. His father was
Everybody
a
skips that one.
careful and guarded man. He held his cards close to his chest, and
Cody Jones.
William had prepared him in
What
the
about
event
that,
that
man?
something like this ever happened. Normally, his father kept his home office locked, but in the event of an unexpected, prolonged absence, Michael had been instructed to enter his father's office and look behind an empty set of shelves mounted in the corner of the room. Rolling his eyes, Michael entered the office. Never fully understood how William was able to spend so many hours of his days locked up in here. There was just nothing
Bro,
to
it's
do.
too nosy for his own
Most of this
good.
place was empty. He dragged himself over to the
Way too
shelf
nosy
in the
for his own good,
corner,
bro.
expecting to find an emergency contact list, a family safety deposit box.
We
But what
found
he
out that
actually found there
was
was
robots.
completely unexpected.
Father, it's me, Michael.
What?
I did it. I found it.
What?
It was right where you said it would be.
The shelf swung open and revealed a giant industrial elevator, one that
Oh.
led straight down into an underground bunker. But that was impossible. Hidden inside his childhood home was a secret entrance to an enormous underground science
So it's
lab?
Mike.
It didn't make any
Wait,
sense.
no.
Seriously.
No,
It
wait.
didn't make any sense.
Facts, bro. Like,
Here it was, mapped directly underneath the floor plan of the house that he'd grown up in, lost his brother in, been tortured in. Michael thought that he'd known his father, a prideful, sad, angry man with petty, everyday problems, but clearly he'd been living with a stranger this entire time. His
That made no
father had
sense.
secrets. Suddenly, the days
But you're a
that
security
William
guard in that
being
one.
locked inside of his office made sense.
so I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro. A lot of people in One Piece
Where
almost
was
die all the
Hero?
time.
Was this
All the time.
Circus Baby's entertainment and
All the
rental?
time.
The Circus Baby restaurant always did seem to be a deeply personal project for Father. A failure of his that cut unusually deep, especially after that first location had to be closed prematurely due to the gas leaks. After that day, Father really did seem to change, to lose himself even more in his work. Clearly, the entrance he had found was some sort of secret back way into the facility, one that required crawling through vents to navigate. His father had been working here, but in secret. Why? And that's when he found her. At the end of the facility,
Kinda
the
hot.
Circus Baby, his father's pride and joy. Except something was different about her. She wasn't like the others. The way she talked, the stories she told.
Oh,
This
yeah,
wasn't
'cause-
just a robot.
'cause
She
Mike-
was alive.
Yeah.
Somehow. And not only was she alive,
Yeah.
she also felt familiar.
There is something bad.
Imagine that, bro.
inside of me. I'm broken. I can't be fixed. Will you help me?
Was this
Wait.
his sister? William's baby girl? But how? Why? What was this place? He dug around some old files and found blueprints outlining the features of these animatronics. Storage containers, voice mimicking, parental tracking. And was that a child in Freddy's stomach? Was his father collecting and experimenting on kids? Were all the rumors that he'd heard throughout his past actually true? That the animatronics came to life at night? That there were murders done in all the pizzerias? That his father had somehow been the prime suspect in all of it? Suddenly,
They
Michael's
sure were.
mind flashed back to his persistent nightmares throughout his childhood.
And he
Had
realized-
been experimented on too? Tears stung in his eyes as anger,
poor
fear,
Mike.
and confusion filled his body. His father's secrets
Mike.
were
He been
pouring
going through
out.
it, bro.
William wasn't just a lame, overworked father.
Me
He was
neither,
a
but I mean-
monster toying with life
This your
itself.
dad, though.
Suddenly everything clicked. He frantically looked around the room, blinking human heads on
This your
cords,
dad, though.
staring back at him. Green eyes, his sister. Blue eyes, his brother. Closed eyes, his mom. All just staring expectantly. These were meant to be human. William was working down here trying to make believable humans, literally rebuilding the family that they had both lost. The small little
That's
girl
what
robots
those-
with their British accents roaming the hallways of this underground facility suddenly took on a whole new context.
That's a girl.
Were those meant to be
Bro, I thought that was a little man. Oh, I do not like that little man whatsoever. That's still a girl. I mean, that's a little boy if you ask me, bro. There's no way.
meant for her? A clone? Was William building clones of his sister? They seemed to know him, after all, to react to his presence.
They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you.
He always did have a bit of
Wait.
a resemblance to his father. Michael's mind reeled.
You
as
know
the
what I'm thinking about, bro? Now that I'm thinking about it, who do you play as? Play as in sister location. I'm thinking, oh, but there's somebody. Are you sure it's Michael Afton? In FNAF 1, he plays as Mike Afton too. So, wait, so is sister location? That means that sister location is that means that sister location means that sister location would have to have taken place after 4. 4 would have to be the first one. So 4 had to be the first one, then 6th location, then 1, then 2, then 3. That's, I think so, yeah.
Reality of his world crumbled
That's crazy.
to dust. No, he had
That's
to get
crazy.
him out of there. If this really was
I didn't think it was a
his
girl.
sister, heck, if any of these things were human souls, whatever remnant of the humans that they once were, they needed to be rescued.
They
Facts.
always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here.
Led by the voice of Circus Baby, he marched through the now empty halls of the Funtime Auditorium. He would lead them. He would protect them. And
Me
finally,
neither.
he would be
He
able
bugging.
to forgive himself for the killing of his brother so many years.
He bugging. Oh,
You are in the scooping room now.
wait, what?
The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Scooper, that violent extraction arm? Michael had seen that one in the pile of blueprints. Something about heat rendering the magical silver metal inside useless. In
What's up,
reality,
Kia?
prior to getting himself spring-locked
What's
and put
good?
behind the wall, William's methods had
Wait.
become increasingly sophisticated. With a mechanized arm that could infuse new bodies with the soul, William could finally give and take away life. The only thing he needed were the bodies. But William wasn't the only one looking for bodies, as Michael was about to learn.
If we looked like you, then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go.
Michael was going to be the hero to help these animatronics, all right. He was going to help the haunted tubes and wires of these animatronics escape, just not the way that he anticipated. His sister had lied to him. Another game of pretend. The scoop.
If this is going where I'm thinking, then that means that Funtime Freddy in Security Breach is actually Mike, who is controlling that big old like robot thing, and I think, but if so, why is he in the new location?
Cooper plowed forward, digging its extraction arm into his
I'm
body. As he
thinking-
heard his bones ripping through his flesh.
I'm thinking, not much longer.
Something is wrong.
I'm gonna finish this video and then be out, honestly. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Cause I just did, like, I was on here for, I was in here for, about, like 2 hours before, so 3 hours is, like, the max. I could do one more video, like, one more, cause there is one more GameSlam video, but I don't know about that. I don't know about that, bro. I appreciate you, kiddo. I appreciate you. You always coming in just to show love, bro. I appreciate you. Appreciate you a lot. But it's cool, though. I appreciate you. Thank you, though. And we can't watch cartoons, Snow, because I would get copyrighted. Like, the whole video would get copyrighted and get taken down. And there's no other cartoons I would really watch anyways, you know? There was one that I wanted to, but I don't think it's gonna be on my YouTube homepage no more. I don't think so.
I should be dead.
We could check real quick. Because there was something I wanted to watch. I hope it's still here. There was something that looked interesting. I don't know where. Yep, Ghost Tale right here. I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna put that to watch later. I'm gonna watch that after. You feel me? I don't know what this is, but it look cool though. You feel me? It looked like Amazing Digital Circus. And I like Amazing Digital Circus, so we're gonna promote it more than likely like this one too. Okay. Okay.
I'm not.
For the next
Why are you
several
looking at me
months,
like that?
Michael's life was not his own. He was forced to
What?
digging its extraction arm into his body.
Hold on. Is that why he turned purple? That's why he turns purple, bruh. Oh. So he goes from this to this because he got infected with the yeah. So he is the Funtime Freddy that I think. I'm not all the way sure about that, but I'm pretty sure.
As he heard his bones ripping through his flesh, Michael blacked out.
Something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not.
Yeah, you don't gotta look at me like that, my boy.
For the next several months, Michael's life was not his own. He was forced to comply with the tangle of wires and spirits that lived inside of him.
That's
His body
crazy.
Felt like an overfilled balloon begging to burst. As day
So
by
that's-
day, week
yup.
by week, his flesh began to sag and discolor. He was a walking, talking, rotting corpse, alive but wishing he wasn't. He was a puppet, a walking shell. And while he did his best to conceal his fate, there was only so much a man filled with robot spaghetti could do. The entity in his innards would eventually leave, but by that point, the damage had been done. His decaying flesh stank, turning him into a literal purple guy. But still, even with no bones, even with rotting purple flesh and begging to die, Michael continued to live. That silvery metal remnant injected by the scooper meant that he couldn't die. His anger also refused to die. What he had seen down there in his sister's location had rocked him to his core. His father had killed and captured dozens. His experiments had killed his sister and then tortured him throughout all his childhood. He was actively trying to build human replicants. He didn't know where his father was, but Michael knew that he was out there somewhere.
His dad's a tweaker, man.
Only one thing left.
His dad's a tweaker.
I'm going to come find you.
Wait, those wasn't his bones. Those wasn't his bones. What he spit out was like robot. It was like a robot tentacle thing that went inside of him, took control of him, and then he spit it out. Like it came out. Those wasn't his bones. That's crazy though. That's crazy.
Michael would burn Fazbear Entertainment to the ground.
Exactly,
I mean,
ew.
What else could you do when your skin was permanently purple? Michael's strategy was simple. He would apply for night security guard positions at the old defunct pizzeria locations. That way, no one ever had to see him or smell him during his shift. And all these old, shuttered locations.
What?
Teenage vandals and squatters were always looking to get inside these abandoned buildings, and yet no one ever really wanted to work an overnight graveyard shift unless they were practically out of options. Enter Mike. One by one, he would take on the job of security guard, changing his name each time to ensure that no one was able to follow his paper trail. Once inside, he could tamper with the animatronics and figure out how they worked, writing about his experiences in his security logbook. While there, he would listen to the old tapes where upper management awkwardly welcomed new recruits to their summer jobs, even though he was working there nowhere near the summer months. He heard the gory details of his father's franchise from the outsiders looking in.
What a little you got.
About what was happening in the walls around them. Sometimes he would see his brother in the form of the Golden Freddy suit. It's me appearing on the walls around him. Except now, there was something else there. He was no longer alone. Another angrier presence was also in the suit, as if two spirits were forced to share the same body. And Golden Freddy would attack him now. It was aggressive. Its vengeance wanted to lash out at anyone with the Afton name. Anyone who wore a security guard outfit. Over time, Mike worked his way through the old restaurants. The original pizzeria, the bigger, better Freddy Fazbear's. He spent weeks there looking for clues as to his father's whereabouts. Each time at the end of his week shift, he would then set the location on fire. Remnant can't survive high temperatures after all. So burning away whatever spirit-laden animatronics that still existed inside seemed like a winning strategy. All this revisiting of his past, though, was causing the nightmares to begin again. Hallucinations that brought him back to his childhood.
So that's why the Mike...
His dreams were...
Okay. They changed it... Okay. So they changed it in the movie because... The main character, who's also Mike, but I guess he's Mike Schmidt. What's FNAF movie Mike? I guess he's Mike Schmidt, huh? Yeah, he's a Schmidt. So Schmidt was a fake name for actual Mike Afton. So yeah, they made it so that his brother got kidnapped. Actual Mike, ended up unaliving his brother, but they made it so that the dreams, the nightmares was still okay. I get it.
Mixed with the shrill phone calls of the security guard.
I get it.
But it would all be worth it in the end. The goal was to eventually stumble across the one location, the one job that would finally reunite him with his father. Little did Mike know that that day would come sooner than he expected. 2023, an advertisement came across Mike's TV. Fazbear Fright.
That's this year.
A new horror attraction inspired by the awful crimes that occurred around Freddy Fazbear's Pizza some years ago. It made Mike sick. People looking to make a quick buck off the tragedy of others, off his own family. This wasn't a joke or entertainment. Regardless, he had to be a part of it. If this team was combing through his family's history, they might stumble across something that could be useful. And if his father was
facts, right? I'm only gonna have a TV like that no more.
Show up here. Maybe finally, this could be the final chapter in his family's marathon of tragedy. Mike applied for the job and was immediately handed the keys. Years of doing this had taught him that security guards rarely receive thorough security checks. They also liked how creepy Mike looked. They thought it was a costume, on theme for the job. Well,
okay.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise it'll be a lot more interesting this time.
For weeks, there was nothing. But just as Mike considered giving up, he received the call that he'd been waiting for years.
You're not gonna believe this. We found one. A real one.
So this is FNAF 2.
Sure enough, there he was.
This
William
is-
inside his iconic golden Bonnie springlock suit, only now it was green and decaying with age.
Ew.
There they were, a small family of broken men finally reunited.
This is
Been a long
crazy.
time, Dad. Mike had always struggled with the phantoms of his past haunting him, but now all the
Oh, no, this is three,
animatronics
this is three,
he'd
this is three.
encountered over the past months, hopping from pizzeria to pizzeria, suddenly sprang to life. Their burned faces haunting him as he tried to keep track of his father on the cameras. It would seem that William's mere presence had put the spirits on high alert. Ultimately, they were harmless, more annoying than anything else, but
Okay.
there was one that felt different from the others, one that was more than just a mere phantom, the security puppet. If he looked at the cameras at just the right moment, he could see it floating there through the halls. He could even see its reflection in the water pooled on the ground. It would seem like he wasn't the only one there on a mission. While he
What
was dealing with
was the
Springtrap,
bird?
Michael assumed
What is
that
the
this one
bird?
was likely dealing with the
does
spirits
that
of
mean?
this place, finally setting them to rest. Hopefully this means a happier day for all of us, Mike thought to himself. And in that moment, he felt the air around him release, like pressure being let out of a bottle. The building sighed, as if 5 spirits
Oh,
had
she
finally been
f-
allowed
oh,
to
she
move on.
gave
He had
you
the
the
sense that his
bird.
brother was a part of them.
Why?
He rigged the wiring inside the building to misfire. and
What did
dry,
you do? You
decimated
did it then,
walls
bruh.
erupted in flames.
She gonna flip you off for no reason. You didn't riz her.
Finished.
You did not riz her then.
Except it was not.
That means-
somehow, through sheer force of will, Afton remained. He had survived, and Mike would need to find a new way of finishing off his father. Luckily, the solution would
This
present
was-
itself later that year. Not from Mike, but from another victim that had been left in his father's wake.
We're talking about becoming a Fazbear Entertainment franchisee, restaurant ownership and management, something almost anyone can do with a limited degree of success. You are now the face of the newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Fazbear Entertainment as a brand.
What did you do to her,
for
bro?
years. William had been stuck in a suit and a wall. The only
How you gonna
person who
humiliate her and
really
say you
could
rizzed
get
her?
the
That
franchise
is-
back was Henry.
that is
He
not no
largely pulled
riz.
out of the franchise around the time of his father's disappearance. Something was up. Surely this had to be some kind of a trick, right? Mike, doing what he did best, applied for a franchise and immediately got the job. There was just one thing out of the ordinary. Paragraph 4.
If you are playing this tape, that means that not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do, but also that you have found something that meets the criteria of your special obligations under paragraph 4.
No employment contract
What?
he'd ever signed required him to keep special lookout for independently moving animatronics outside the restaurant.
Yeah, that's
now
crazy.
He knew something was up here. Henry was luring them all back. Rather than trying to go to them, like Mike had done for years, Henry was doing the opposite. He was putting them all under the same roof. He was finishing them off for good. Mike knew this wasn't meant to be a restaurant.
Wait,
it was
what?
meant to be a prison. A containment vessel, a locked box meant to trap them all in so they could finally end the madness. It took a few nights, but eventually everyone was there. His father, the puppet, the robot spaghetti that had once violated his body, and his sister, now hopelessly devoted to serve the man that had once gotten her killed. It was time. He had been instructed to seal the doors and leave, but while he locked
Which
everything
game
down,
is
he
this?
didn't move on. If this was truly meant to be the end, if the remnant needed to be washed away,
He gonna stay in
needed
there.
to be a part of that.
This is where your story
Oh
ends.
man, I like Mike then.
Volunteer who somehow
Like,
found this
obviously, you know, he messed up when he killed his brother, but like, he's trying to redeem himself though, you know? Everybody makes mistakes. I like Mike, bro. I like Mike.
not intended for you.
I love
Although
redemption
there was a
stories.
way out planned for you. I have a feeling
I love
that's
redemption
not
stories,
what
bro.
you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and
He really got them,
more
too.
waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep the devil waiting, old friend.
And with that,
Okay,
it was
Mike.
over. The Afton legacy died with all of them.
So you made her
trapped
look and there was
inside of a
nothing there.
literal box. As the flames danced around the office, Mike, for the first
Wait.
time in decades, was happy. But William wasn't gone yet. Although the darkest pit of hell was open and waiting for
Hold
him,
on.
something or someone wouldn't allow him to move on. Instead, he found himself locked in moments from his past. The pizzeria, his son's room, his underground bunker.
So-
it was as if his brain's neurons were all firing at once.
You
Or-
said you sent her an email that said to look in that direction and you rizzed her while she looked in that direction. I don't know about all that. How, like, what type of riz was you applying? Was it like what, you know, that sound? I don't know about that riz, bro. Riz levels are
mixing
sounding
and
low.
matching all his biggest fears,
The Riz
regrets,
levels are sounding low.
failures. What was this place?
Oh, you're in an email.
He called out into the
What?
silence. Then they started coming. Without warning, animatronics
Dude, these animatronics be
threw an old
jumping
man
him,
to
bruh.
jump out at him, bite him, rip him limb from limb. The pain was
Animatronics be
immeasurable.
jumping
Make it
him,
stop.
bruh.
Make it stop. William, for the first time, longed for death, an end to this torture.
Good.
Just as it felt like he couldn't take it anymore. Everything was quiet again.
That's what you
It was
need,
as
boy.
if the world had been reset. There was a brief moment of quiet, and then the onslaught began again. Dozens of faces from his past, all focused on him. A waking nightmare that he couldn't escape from. More pain, more ripping. It was his own personal hell, but why? Why couldn't he
That's
just
the best kind of
die?
race.
And then he saw
If we being
group
honest.
of characters he never
Those are the best
thought
kind of
he'd
race.
see again. Those janky, stolen
They kind of grow me.
started everything.
What's it
From
called?
mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre melodies. They
It
grow
all
me.
started to go wrong once they showed up.
They're kinda
Once
cool.
Henry had made them, but mixed in with their
I like their vibe.
obnoxious southern drawls, William heard something else. It was barely a whisper, but he could just make out the words.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
What?
That voice. He knew that voice, but from where? The one he
What?
shouldn't have killed. William thought that. He'd done a lot of awful things, but there was always the one that stood out. Not Charlie, his drunken act of revenge. Not Susie, his first true murder, no. Instead, it was the one that he had lost control with. The one that he had broken beyond repair for no good reason other than because he could. The one that he'd stuffed inside the golden bear that his partner used to wear. Cassidy.
Favorite
they were
one.
back. And now they were trying to punish him, to make him suffer like he'd made them suffer. It was almost like William and Cassidy's souls had been locked together, fused by a collective rage and spite, each refusing to move on. But while Cassidy was so focused on taking revenge, they actually did the one thing that would be the downfall for so many others. They kept William alive. Even though fire should have destroyed the remnant that was coursing through his being, Cassidy kept William breathing, paving the way for his escape. William's will was so strong, his soul so powerful that he managed to put a part of himself inside the circuitry that housed the spring-locked suit. And there, his consciousness lay, inside a single circuit board, waiting for
This
someone to
man Will is different, bruh. This man put his soul inside of Beat Boop, bruh. He turned himself into Beat Boop. How you do that? How do you do that, bro? This man Will is different.
find him and set him free.
Man,
A
it's
person
different, bruh.
No one would suspect. Okay, so a bit
That's
of a
as stupid as you, but Bond's female.
We shift perspective.
You like her,
Mike
don't
can
you?
tell his side of the story. And
You
with
say that-
Freddy
you say that
already
like-
security breach having so much to explain. I didn't want to rush through things by trying to cram it all in here. Don't worry.
Like y'all like
all
that.
Patient. The final
That's what I'm
video
hearing.
is happening on March 25th. That is locked. It is getting ready to go. Trust me, I want this thing to be over and done with as much as you. I'm not just stretching it out for the
Same
day.
levels of
But
stupid.
Before we wrap up for the day, I did want to talk
So-
about the big Orville elephant in the room, Mike's quest for revenge.
Was
Now,
she?
you might have noticed that I was vague
The one
on
that you
names,
raised?
and there's a good reason for that. I don't know him. There is no good way for me to make him fit
That
in.
was somewhere.
Here's what I do know. We know with a high amount of certainty that Michael Afton is the character that we play as up until Ultimate Custom Night. Mike
Mm-hmm.
Schmidt and Fritz Smith, the security guards for FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 respectively, get fired for, quote, tampering with the animatronics and odor. So weird
Oh,
connection between the two of them, right?
man,
Now,
that
look
is
at the Phantom
crazy,
animatronics that are haunting us in
man.
FNAF 3.
That's crazy. Wow.
They use models from both FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, meaning
what happened?
whoever is sitting in that security guard chair, Fazbear Fright,
I didn't think Ultimate Custom Night was actually canon like that.
that we play as up until Ultimate Custom Night. Mike Schmidt and Fritz Smith, the security guards for FNAF
So she
1
wasn't
and
the one
FNAF
that you
2
rizzed
respectively,
before,
get
though.
fired for, quote, tampering with the
Like,
animatronics
that was a different
and
one.
odor. So weird connection between the two of them, right? But now, look at the Phantom animatronics that are haunting us in FNAF 3. They use models from both FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, meaning whoever is sitting in that security guard chair, Fazbear Fright, they have to have seen both locations and their animatronics.
Yep.
That's not all. Their designs are burnt. It's a weird detail in the game, and it's something that
Fair.
the character encyclopedia repeatedly calls attention to. The burned texture for these Phantom animatronics. Why is that so unusual, though? Fazbear Frights is the first time in the franchise that we hear about anything burning down. From that point on in the story, it's like the
That's your
characters
friend,
shoot
though?
pyro and are suddenly setting fires left and right. But for the first three
The,
games, nothing ever...
The girl, the blonde one, that's your friend? Like y'all talk? Or you just looking for an angle, you trying to like set up, you trying to put it in motion. Like,
catches
what's
fire.
going
The
on here?
animatronics are just moved or repurposed in some way. So when did they burn? And why would our security
What?
guards see
You-
them as being
You
burned?
be doing
Someone
it, bro.
has to have been going location to location, setting these places on fire, purging the sins of the past. We know
Right.
we're definitely playing as Mike and sister location in FNAF 6 based on the in-game dialogue. And in FNAF
What is
4,
FNAF
there's
6?
an Easter egg where
What?
we can hear the phone call from Night 1 of FNAF 1.
Where? Whoa, FNAF 6. What? Oh, Pizza Simulator. That's actually canon? What's 5 then? I guess Ultimate Custom Night, no? Oh, 6 location. Oh. Yeah, I'm behind my FNAF lore, but that's a lot of games.
Meaning that whoever's
It's a
in
lot
that
of games.
bedroom has heard the recording as a security guard.
You
We
know.
also know that Mike has seen the nightmare animatronics
And it's
based on his
poisonous.
drawings in the security logbook. So overall, there is solid
I
evidence
said
that
it's poisonous,
connects all
like-
of FNAFs 1 through 6. You'll also
Who
notice
said it's poison? It's like he sprayed rat poison in your mouth, bro. You don't die from some deodorant, bro. It's as bad as cologne. A little bit ain't gonna kill you.
location in FNAF 6 based on the
People
in-game
can call you.
dialogue. And in FNAF 4, there's an Easter egg where we can hear the phone call from Night 1 of FNAF 1, meaning that whoever's in that bedroom has heard the recording as a security guard. We also know that Mike has seen the nightmare animatronics based on his drawings in the security logbook. So overall, there is solid evidence that connects all of FNAFs 1 through 6.
Okay.
You'll also notice how the character encyclopedia doesn't have a page for Mike Afton. This thing has a page for Chocolate Bunny Bonnie, not Michael. Some tells me they don't want us to confirm how many games he's been in, because that would confirm too much of the theory. In short, this gives us an incredibly compelling and complete
Okay.
narrative. Mike as our protagonist and William, his father, as our antagonist. Mike accidentally kills his brother in Freddy's
Fair,
mouth,
that's good.
which begins
Okay.
our story and sets William down his pathway of destruction. Mike is then haunted by the guilt of his past.
Listen,
and is looking to make things right.
Did
across
he
the
do
rest of the
anything,
games.
or
In
he
Sister
just took
Location,
it?
He learns what his father's been up
And
to
the head is
and realizes
crazy.
what he has to do to correct it.
Arm
After
is
failing
fine,
to
but,
finish
like,
the job in FNAF 3,
head is
he
crazy.
ultimately helps Henry end it all in FNAF 6. It is great. It is a clean narrative. There is
I gotta
just
watch
one
FNAF 6.
problem, timing. Mike's quest can't really start until he's been down to Sister Location, seen Baby, and gotten himself scooped. That's when he finds out about Afton's secret life. It's also when he's gonna start to smell, because, you know, he's a walking, talking, rotting
whole
corpse.
corpse.
And we know that he's not
He
going
ain't do
down into the
nothing?
bunker until the Funtime animatronics have been
Uh-uh.
made, Freddy's has
He
been
bugging.
closed, and Afton is out of the picture. That all should be happening post-1993, after William is sealed behind a wall. But that then presents us with a few problems. Afton has already dismantled the original animatronics as we see in the FNAF 3 minigames. How are those things getting burned if they're already deconstructed? But more importantly, we see FNAF 2 paychecks with the date 1987. That is way earlier than I think it can be. To be fair, Fritz Smith's pink slip on night 7 doesn't have a date, but it's a bit weird to say that the first few nights are in 1987, and then employee number 3 is hired on years after the restaurant closes. Anyway, just wanted to call that out because I don't have a solid answer for it, and I'd love to see your comments down below. And with that, my friends, this chapter comes to a close.
This is
see you
crazy.
On March 25th for the grand finale.
crazy.
We cover the final 3 games in the franchise, and the controversial answers we think solves what those games were trying to tell us. Until then, my Faz heads,
I wonder-
remember, even though Afton kinda succeeded in being brought back to life, gotta admit, he's still looking a little bit on the dry, dehydrated
Facts.
side. I suppose
This is the
free-
ad. This is the ad. Ain't it? But for some water. I like you, Matt Pat. You a cool dude, bro. I'm glad you out in the movie. I wonder if he covers Ruin inside of this one too. I would hope so. I would hope so, bro. See, you land at Pleasant Park. I'm fighting SpongeBob as Danny Phantom, bro. We still like that. We still like that. But we just on different. We on different timing. And I'm playing WarioWare. And I'm playing WarioWare. You feel me?
Theory. And the final part of my
I don't play
FNAF
Fortnite,
timeline, where
Snoopy.
today we're bringing
I don't
our
play
story
Fortnite. I
to a
didn't know that.
close by talking about the most complicated and controversial part of the timeline, the part that
What
I've
you
been
gonna play at?
dreading most of all, the end. The moment where we're finally forced to come to some definitive and difficult answers. trying to
I would
explain what the
die.
heck we were watching in
I would
Security
die.
Breach.
Yeah, I don't know what was my favorite Insecurity Reach, bro. I really don't. I would die if we went to Pleasant Park, bro. I'm not good at Fortnite
The
at
last 2
all.
episodes have been about death.
At
the death
all,
of
bruh.
Afton's family, the deaths of multiple children, the death of the franchise itself as Mike and Henry figuratively
That
and
is
literally burn
true.
it all down. Today's episode, though,
That's
and
the one-
end of this franchise is instead all about rebirth.
I mean,
The
true, you
return
could
of
carry
old
me.
characters in new forms, and the controversial
even when I-
rebirth
even when I
of the
get carried-
franchise entering the next era of its story. But before we hop into the
Even
timeline,
when I get
due to
carried, I'd still be
scheduling
dying.
conflicts, I won't be able to have any live talk back back after this episode. I know, I promised one, I was really excited about it, but I just couldn't make it work with my schedule and all the other guests' schedules. That said, I still do plan on doing one over the coming weeks with special guests. Just make sure that you're subscribed and either have all notifications turned on, or you're just watching our community tab for the announcement as to when that's going to happen. And now, without any further ado, we finally reached the end of a new beginning.
Before that first drop, bro, was different. Tom's different, bro.
Fazbear Entertainment was dead.
There is no need for you to return to work next week, as Fazbear Entertainment is no longer a corporate entity.
All debts had been paid, all assets redistributed. The company was outright dissolved. Even the memories of the horrors that had happened there started to fade away in the public consciousness. The people were gone too. William was dead. Henry was gone. A whole generation of young Emilys and Aftons had lost their lives to the horrors of the pizzeria. All of them collateral damage to the man in the bunny suit. Everyone that man William really had ever touched was dead and gone.
He really did a lot, bruh.
Well, all except one.
Pay your child support, you deadbeat! I'm keeping the diamond ring. I also set the house on fire!
Clara Afton. She'd been there in the early days, back when things with William...
Is that his wife? Clara Afton? Cause... that's his wife, no? Ex-wife! Oh... So, okay, right. FNAF movie. Who was Max then? Who was Max? Is she like anybody? Or... cause when she mentioned the diamond ring, I didn't realize that, like, I didn't realize that had some meaning. You know what I mean? FNAF Max. Is that an actual character or... I don't think so. Okay, she's just new, but she mentioned the diamond ring. She did make a parent that, you know. I guess I was a little Easter egg.
Good. They'd had the perfect
was a little Easter egg, bro.
Business, the ideal family.
You getting the Spider-Man? Whoa, 620. I don't know about all that, bro. Spider-Man, PS5. I don't know if it's all costs that much. I don't know where you're buying it from if it costs 620, bro. No, it's literally only 560. Maybe in euros it's probably different. It's probably different in euros. It's probably the same amount.
She had watched him change from this irritating man that she had fallen in love with to a drunken monster.
What are you talking about? What? Yo, y'all be getting scammed in Belgium, bro.
In those desperate days, he was just too far gone.
Y'all be getting scammed in Belgium. Wait, I don't get it though. Ballora is Clara? FNAF. She's Clara? Who? Yeah, what is... by William Afton. Who is William Afton's wife? Oh, ex-wife. She did leave him. Clara, yeah. Okay. Well, I read ex-wife. I'm thinking like that's his wife before his current wife. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. PS5 are with Spider-Man colors. What? Oh, like the colors.
You wanted to let me in.
For her sake, she had to leave the relationship, and from there she largely faded into obscurity. A mystery from William's past, a footnote in his history, and that was fine for her. She wanted to leave that part of her life behind. She tried to move forward, never wanting to hear the name Freddy Fazbear again. A time defined by mistakes and broken promises. But then, the paperwork started to arrive. As Fazbear Entertainment began to close as a corporate entity,
not no 620 though.
Flooded with notifications, requests,
I don't know what PS5 you've seen in America.
Helping William
I don't know what people seen for 1K, bro. If I pay 1K for a PS5, they are stupid.
Member of the Afton family, all copyrights and trademarks of both Afton Robotics and Fazbear Entertainment passed on to her. Memories of this past life that she had long left behind. Looking at the blueprints, the contracts, the memos, she felt old wounds begin to reopen. The regrets of a happy family that had been torn away from her. William had always been brilliant. That's what had attracted her to him in the first place.
Poor Clara.
But he'd also been too blinded by obsession
Miles C's do not steal.
Eddie, too unable to actually see a bigger picture. But now, holding the paperwork that contained decades
That man
of
had really had,
trauma,
bro,
she
tweaking,
realized
bro.
It was her turn. She was holding the power. This was her chance.
That is not a W
One
at
thought
all.
Resonated
At
in
all.
her head. I will put them back
But
together.
hold on,
I will
hold on,
put them
hold on.
all back together.
Let me see if 620 euros to American dollars. No. I'm thinking it's gonna like equal out. It doesn't equal out, bro. You are getting scammed. Where are you buying your PS5s from, bro? Where are you buying your PS5s from? If you don't go buy them on Amazon for $560, go to Walmart for $560, now $620. What are you talking about, bro? $620?
She would be the one to
What?
rebuild this family.
Oh, that's Spider-Man 2. I'm spending $620 from.
Shattered life to reclaim the kids that Fazbear had
Wait.
stolen from her. But how? Looking at William's work now laid out before
Wait,
the
what?
one to rebuild her chance. And one thought resonated in her head. I will put them back together. I will put them all back together. She
Yo, poor
would be
Clara,
the
bro.
one to rebuild this family. To rebuild the pieces of that shattered life.
Poor
to
Clara.
reclaim the kids that Fazbear had stolen from her. But how? Looking at William's work now laid out before her, she knew that he had been onto something. Collecting remnant, robotic humanoids, digital conscience transference. The pieces were all in place. They were just scattered.
I
fragmented.
honestly don't know.
It was almost like there were
I know
too
why
many
Michael's
ideas
purple,
going in too many different
but
directions. It was such an important idea
I don't know
that
why
she
William's purple.
reiterated that point to herself.
And she's purple,
there
she's
were
his wife,
too many
so.
ideas going in too many different directions. That said, there had to be a way to save it all. She just needed to put it all back together. But how? To rebuild her family, she would first need to rebuild the franchise that had stolen them away from her. With ownership over the characters, their licenses, the technology patents, and the Fazbear name, she converted the corporation back to an LLC, a structure for smaller businesses that are usually family-owned. The irony was fitting. From there, she would need remnant, and lots of it. Remnant was the key. Clearly, in the later years of his life, William had been using Circus Babies Entertainment and Rentals as a remnant farm, sending robots to kids' birthday parties in the hopes of nabbing bits of the stuff here and there. But clearly, it wasn't enough. He had,
Why are we
like,
saying
4
remnant like it's some
combined
like
animatronics?
it's some like something you take out of you dig in a kid's nose and like pick it out, bro? Like, isn't that your soul? How are you just gonna snatch somebody's soul, bro? Like,
going out every
what?
week? No. It was a decent idea, but to get the remnant they required...
Saving Manhattan for $620 isn't worth it, though,
hundreds
at all.
of animatronics, all out there,
At all.
all gathering remnant from unsuspecting customers.
Spend
But
your
to do that,
parents'
require help.
money
Something
wisely,
William
bro. It's not even your money to be spending like that.
William had kept everything in.
It's $560. It costs $560.
Limited him. Clara, though,
It's quite literally PS5 and the
a
game.
plan like this required partners, people outside of Fazbear to do the heavy lifting. So she contacted a mid-sized delivery company, DLZ Shipping Solutions, to help build replicas of all the original animatronics. And with meal delivery apps being all the rage, why not an animatronic delivery service? Order one to celebrate your birthday, your Halloween party,
That's kinda cool.
4th of July picnic. We'll
That's
invite
kinda cool.
Liberty Chica and 4th of July Freddy on over. She would make
What?
sure that they made skins for every
Those look
occasion.
AI generated, Matt Pat.
Shamrock Freddy's for St. Patrick's Day, Dia de los Muertos, Chica.
There's no way these are
Chica and
real.
4th
There's no way these are real. What? They are real. Where are these from? FNAF AR special delivery. Wow, bro. Those pictures look AI generated, bro.
of July Freddy on over.
This
She
is
would
crazy.
Make sure that they made skins for
That's
every
crazy.
occasion. Chocolate Bonnies for Easter, Shamrock Freddy's for St. Patrick's Day, Dia de los
That's crazy.
Muertos, Chicas. And thus, the
You know you can
Fazbear
play-
Funtime service was
So you're
born.
buying the digital PS5. Mark, you done scared the life out of me, bruh. You're buying the digital PS5. That's cost, if I'm not mistaken, that costs less than a normal PS5, bro. What do you... Or no, you're buying the digital version. Well, you can still buy... You could, even if you had the disc version, you would still be able to play without no internet.
You'll always have someone watching your back.
Was it ridiculous?
I know you're buying the digital version of the game.
Was it a sellout? No doubt. It was exactly the sort of thing that William would have hated.
Those look AI
but it needed
generated,
to be
bro.
done to get enough remnant. Normally, the novelty of ordering an animatronic wore off after like what, 1, maybe 2 times. But with new skins
No.
for new holidays,
But
suddenly
any
you had
game,
yourself an
any physical
animatronic
game's online.
perfect
As
for
long as
every
you,
occasion. It would keep people hooked. It would
buy
keep
the
them
game,
ordering
it's
the latest
yours.
and greatest
I was like, you know,
that
something
Fazbear
like,
Entertainment
not a multiplayer
LLC
game,
had to
then.
offer. And all the while, they were collecting and returning the remnant back to her. In a word, it was brilliant. There was just one problem with it. No one trusted the Fazbear name. The company's brand was still mud in the public
Facts.
eye. No one
Tarnished.
would want to hire animatronics from the restaurant
Tarnished.
franchise known for murdering children. Nothing killed the party quite like the threat
with
of death,
Spider-Man.
you know. So she needed to find a way to discredit the stories that had come before. She needed
Nah,
to
y'all
win
bugging.
back the public's affections, reactivate some
You're bugging.
nostalgia for the spooky
620
stories
for
of her
PS5 is
childhood.
crazy,
She
bro.
needed a game.
They don't cost that
Multiple
much no
games,
more.
In fact,
They lied to us. They lied
Like-
to all of us. They told us that the whole point of
No,
this VR
even
game
with
was
shipping,
to
it's still gonna be
undo
that
the
much.
bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer.
It should
That's
not be
not
that
true at
much.
all. Those indie games were designed to
Go pick it up,
conceal
first
and
of all.
make light of what happened. This isn't just
I
an
ain't
attempt to
having-
rebrand. It's an elaborate
I don't know,
cover-up.
bro.
struggling game developers were a dime a dozen online, most working on their magnum opus between shifts at the Dollar General. So she found one. Steve just picked him out of obscurity. The right mix of desperate and doofus willing to say
Who is this guy?
anything for a couple extra bucks. And he fell right
What?
in line, as expected, delivering stupid little things
So, hold
with
on,
dumb
hold on.
generic names like
So you got Spider-Man PS5 with the colors. I know what you're talking about. This one. Oh, this one then. All right, then 620 isn't that bad. It was a limited edition, but since it was limited edition, I think you're actually the covers cost $250. Bro, what? Okay, I think you got it actually for a good deal then. Because it is a limited edition. I don't know if that's the exact one. I don't know if that's the exact one you got.
Mango's
But
Quest, Balloon Boy's Air Adventure, Five Nights at Freddy's. Bad gameplay with even worse graphics, but hey, they got the job done. People were suddenly talking
Come on,
about
bro.
the clues inside of these things, searching for the
Yeah,
clues.
I didn't know
They
you
were
think about that.
actively making
Man, you don't need
jokes
all that, bro.
about dead kids at pizzerias. Her husband's twisted
You don't need
history
all
of
that.
serial murder had suddenly been
You don't get no
reduced to
PS5.
a mere Nancy Drew mystery to be solved. The plan.
You don't get no one.
Freddy Fazbear's was suddenly more popular than ever. Things were going shockingly well. Her takeover
So it
and
was
reboot of the
Clara.
franchise was full and complete.
So it was
Suddenly infused with cash,
Clara
the largest
that made all those random games that like I wasn't like. I'm like, what are these, bro? No wonder.
most ambitious
No wonder, bro. 'Cause I'm like, those don't feel.
project yet, the Mega Pizzaplex. William had always been so
You know,
visionary, but always thought so
I like Spider-Man too, but I'm not.
small-scale.
That's too much,
He was
bro.
careful to a fault. Not
That's
her
too
though.
much.
She knew that this latest project
They're purple 'cause they're
needed
purple
to be
guys.
big. It needed to be flashy. It needed to be a palace for children, a place that got people talking and checking out the latest in Fazbear products. So with a steady supply of Remnant flowing in, it was finally time. The stage was set. It was time to get
What
to a
is
real
Remnant,
goal,
bruh?
Literally rebuilding a family.
What is that, bro? Metallic substance we can use to trap souls and inanimate objects. What? It's a tangible substance between soul and metal. But like, how does Remnant just like? I don't know. I don't know. It's something in the game. That's all I need to know, really. It's in the game and it exists. Like,
the first was
that's what it is, bro.
her little boy, the one that was the first to get ripped away from her. She'd seen down in his bunker that William had gotten very close to replicating artificial humans using
William really
animatronic
good
technology. So that's exactly what she
tweaker,
would
bro.
do, rebuild her boy from the
Tweaker.
ground up.
I know why she's purple, because
His
he's
shaggy
purple.
brown hair, his
Like,
favorite striped shirt, even down to
they
small
definitely in the
details
future.
that no one would notice.
Far in
like
the future, bro.
Band-Aid on his left knee. Williams' research had even found ways of making animatronics that could bleed and process food, making them virtually indistinguishable from a typical human. He
Oh,
would
nah,
never
William.
have any idea of what he actually was unless he was explicitly told. The only things that could possibly ruin the illusion were any overrides to his internal systems. If something were to say interfere with the cameras that he had
Don't
in
play
his
with me.
eyes, or cause
Don't play
some
with
sort of
me.
a core reboot to
Don't
his
play
hard
with me,
drive,
MadPat, don't play with me. You ain't gonna tell me Gregory is the whole was the animatronic this whole time. You ain't gonna tell me that, right? That's not what you're gonna tell me, right? Is that what?
X-ray his metallic bones, then yeah, he would be exposed.
Hold on, bro.
But otherwise, to the outside world,
Hold
he
on.
was just your typical
PS6?
normal human boy. She worked down in the bowels of the Pizzaplex, giving him
Probably
life. There was one thing
not. PS4 release date. It usually takes them about 10-ish years. 2013. Actually, yeah, it will be. It will be. It will be. Because it usually lasts about like 8 years. 8 years between consoles. So PS4 came out 2013. I think PS5 came out 2020. November, yeah, 2020. So yeah, it will be out by then. PS7 might be out by then, honestly. Well, no, not PS7. No, not PS7. PS7 will be on the horizon. But not yet.
To help him remember his identity.
Not yet, bro.
He died so young, so early.
Love you, Kia, bro. Appreciate you, bro.
No documentation that
love you, bro. Thank you for joining.
His digital brain. So bit by bit, she trained.
Yeah, PS5 took 7 years. Yeah,
in a
not
corner
bad.
of the room, she even made a makeshift dinner table. A reminder.
There's no way. There's no way.
But systems. If something were to say interfere with the cameras
that Gregory
eyes, or cause some sort of a core reboot to his hard drive,
is a
or
robot.
X-ray his metallic bones, then yeah, he would be exposed. But otherwise, to the outside world, he was just your typical normal human boy. She worked down in the bowels of the Pizzaplex.
That's not what you're telling me right now.
One thing to build him was another to help him remember.
That's not what you're telling me right now, bro.
So early in their history that there was no preserved memories for him, no documentation that she could just download into his digital brain. So bit by bit, she trained him, forcing him to remember who he was. In a corner of the room, she even made a makeshift dinner table, a reminder of their happier days. The family recreated 2 brothers, a sister, a father, and the mother at the head of the table. The one in charge, the one in command, the one bringing all of this to fruition. But his progress was admittedly slower than
I'm trying to see if
first,
this is confirmed in Ruin or not.
Then rudimentary drawings and crude letters.
I know, yeah. Ballora is Clara. But I didn't know. Because what I'm thinking, right? What I'm thinking is that when does security breach take place if she's Ballora by the time sister location is, and sister location is after 4? This would have to take place. Because she can't be doing this as a robot, right? He'll be showing a picture of Ballora then, if so. So when does security breach take place? It had to take place after. It had to take place after 6. Like, it had to be the last one, or most recent one at least. But that don't make no sense though, because how did she make Gregory? If
all for me.
I don't know, bro. This stuff is weird.
Robot boy embraced her.
You haven't watched the movie yet? This movie is really good, bro. The movie is really good. Like, really, really good. You're gonna love it.
This was what it was all for. Her
I don't believe in God. I do not believe in God.
Again. The plan was working. She had to keep going. Next was William. If the family was truly going to be put together, she would need him. And she knew exactly where he was, in the ruins of that old Freddy Fazbear's pizza place where Henry had trapped him. In fact, that's specifically why she insisted
I don't know why you shocked like that.
There over the sinkhole. It's the best place to hide what her true intentions were with the entire
I don't know why you shocked like that.
Digging through the wreckage, she found him. He was right where she thought he'd be.
Look at this man.
Seeing the putrid shell of the Springtrap suit, though, was not something she was prepared for. The rotting corpse of William Afton was disgusting. Scorched flesh fused into the fur lining. Hollow black sockets where eyes once were. A smell that reeked of burned carbon and bloody iron. He was no longer flesh. He was just the tangled sinews of a creature that was once called human. How far this brilliant man had fallen. It was clear that her work was cut out for her on this one. Afton was practically lifeless. The man may not have been able to die, but he was about as close as you could come. And his body would need a lot of reconstruction. Replacement arms,
that's fair.
Endoskeleton.
No, you just believe. You're not like an active
maybe pulled from
church.
New line of
well, you go to church? I don't know.
You'd have to see if they had any spare Bonnie parts lying around that they could steal. In the meantime, though, she threw the husk that was once her husband into a life support pod infused with aerosolized remnant to help keep him stable. But more important than recovering his body was recovering his mind.
I got to, you know?
An empty shell. Severe brain damage starts at temperatures over 108 degrees Fahrenheit.
Have faith, that's all that matters.
2 degrees Celsius. And years of repeated fires had burned his brain to goo. Gone was the brilliant, frustrating mind that had drawn her to him in the first place. But she had a plan. Unlike her darling boy Gregory, Afton had found ways to record his consciousness. Fundamentally, the brain
Clara is low-key crazy. High-key.
After all, so why couldn't you replicate
that's that William effect, man. It's like,
in essence, you could create a digital consciousness. And one thing she knew about William, he was nothing.
I feel the same way. I don't like sleeping out that much though.
Someone who had backup plans.
Like sleeping.
Sure enough, there it was.
Be blowing minds, bro,
buried in
'cause I wake
piles
up.
of old animatronic CPUs.
I
A
feel like-
record of
I like getting work
Afton's
done more than I
son.
like sleeping.
But she needed someone to test it.
Someone was definitely here during the night. It had to have been the client. I mean, they sent us that stuff in the first place with no explanation, told us to scan
What
it,
game is
said
this
it would
from?
expedite the process so we wouldn't need to program any pathfinding ourselves.
Unlike
you
the
are
other
bugging. Don't you got
games
school
that
tomorrow,
she paid
bro?
to have made in the past,
You-
this one had a different purpose.
I appreciate
This
you,
wasn't
bruh.
about PR. It was about getting William.
Cause you
back
said to watch me
up and running.
so
Freddy
late
is
on school
vibrant
nights,
to
bro.
the masses.
You acknowledge that Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for accidental digital consciousness transference, real-world
That's crazy.
manifestations of digital characters.
She hired a new developer, Silver Parasol Games, to scan the boards and bring her husband into the system. And because of the immersive nature of VR, William's consciousness would be able to merge with the player, giving him a new body, a new agency. There was just one complication. Afton's hold wasn't as
Isn't that-
powerful as she had hoped. He wasn't able to
Isn't
gain
that-
complete control. The first trial run, Jeremy, was so
Isn't that the OG Bonnie that he made, right? Yo, W Clara, bro. Need me a Clara.
Afton's followers were reluctant, to say the least. But it was the second attempt that looked like it had the potential to kill two birds.
Don't
with
do
one
it.
stone.
Don't do it. Do
Enter
not.
Vanessa. Mrs. Afton
What?
wanted a surrogate daughter. Her darling Elizabeth would have been a young woman at this point if she had lived. And Clara wanted someone who wasn't Elizabeth but could be just like her. Could she have just rebuilt her like Gregory? Sure, but she decided against it because she wanted an actual human mother-daughter connection. Well, that, and it would be redundant and narratively unsatisfying to have two robot kids in the same family. What could she say? William had put a lot of tools on the table for her to use, and she was planning on using them all. Plus, Elizabeth had always been so loyal to Daddy. It was time to give her a second chance, a true choice. And Vanessa seemed to be the perfect candidate to fill the role.
Your dad's name was Bill? Your dad didn't play fair, did he? He used to make your mum look bad in court. He manipulated you. I know your mum after she lost the custody case. I was supposed to be a good girl.
It's
She
about
started
robots.
as a QA tester at Silver Parasol
It's a
Games,
shit about robots.
a VR game development company that was part of her plan to bring back William. But more importantly, Vanessa checked all the correct boxes. Right age, blonde, green eyes with a fondness for flowers and the outdoors. In many ways, it was her daughter all over again. Except it wasn't just looks and personality. What really mattered was Vanessa's mind. Underconfident, coming from a broken home, motherless, able to be manipulated. Yes.
Man.
She would do nicely. She would be
Justice
the
for
one to say,
Vanessa,
"Dear old
man."
Daddy," just as the real Elizabeth would have wanted.
Bro, what?
While testing the VR game, William's digital consciousness merged with Vanessa. Oh sure, she fought, fragmenting Afton's code into a series of tapes hidden across the game, trying to do web searches to regain control over her
I don't
life,
know.
but it
She
wasn't
don't need a
enough.
nose. She don't got a mouth
was
either.
weaker than Jeremy. She was a thrall that, despite occasional moments of lucidity, had to obey. And with Vanessa, it was a 2-for-1 deal. She was getting a daughter back while also bringing her husband one step closer to reactivation.
This is
Just had to make sure
crazy.
that Vanessa was headed the right way. The reborn Gregory was an expert hacker, part of the benefits of being an Afton and a robot. So Clara had him keeping tabs on Vanessa, hacking into her emails and trailing her therapy sessions to ensure the future Elizabeth was falling in line. If any of the therapists started to ask
Wait.
too many questions, they were promptly
'Cause she don't always need it.
dismissed from their positions. And while Gregory kept tabs on Vanessa's personal life, Mrs. Afton made sure to clear a path for her professionally.
need it.
With Silver Parasol's
Sometimes.
collapse at the hands of the anomaly, she then had the possessed Vanessa bring the contaminated circuit boards to DLZ shipping and the Fazbear Funtime service. More glitches, more Remnant, more Afton. But it was her last move that was the best. In a true masterpiece of poetry, she brought Vanessa over to be Chief Security Officer at the Pizzaplex. A true family tradition to don the hat and badge, and all it
Facts.
took was a recommendation from the top as well as some emails marked for deletion. Sure, Vanessa didn't have relevant experience for the job, but when it comes directly from the CEO, does it really matter?
She wasn't really in the game that much.
Son, daughter, a corpse, a robot, a human. All that was left was Michael. Poor, troubled Michael. The boy that killed her youngest. The one that would spend years trying to make his guilty conscience right again. A self-professed protector. While she knew she needed him to complete the family, something told her that the problem had already solved itself. Something had shifted when using Glamrock Freddy to excavate the buried pizza place.
I have been here before. I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path. I have changed. My friends are here, but I can protect
Who is?
you.
Who is? that was
Maybe
that.
it was
I
the
think that was on
record
pretty sure.
coursed through Michael's veins.
It was
Maybe
Babe
it was the
87.
spirit of Michael living on as a protector, but he was there, somewhere inside of Glamrock Freddy. She could feel it. And just like that, she'd won. She'd done it. Sure, there were still some kinks to work out, some final brainwashing of Vanessa, some rehabilitation of William, but they were there. Finally, all together again under one roof. The Aftons
This
reunited.
is crazy.
Happy ending. And that's how it could have ended. That's how it should have ended, had it not been for a few unanticipated developments.
This is crazy,
For one,
bruh.
something was just wrong with the Pizzaplex.
I don't know.
Almost as if the entire building.
When it comes to times, I have no idea.
Because plushies hiding on ceilings, behind crates, places that they had no earthly way of belonging. Staff bots with greasy tears down their eyes, acting like they were being puppeteered by some sort of a nightmare. Even their sounds had the echo of nightmares long past. It was as though a guardian spirit of the past refused to move on. As long as her husband was around, it too would linger. Only now, it wasn't just in one body, but it was in the essence of the building itself. She had seen stories of houses built on burial grounds getting possessed by angry spirits, but she'd never assumed that it could be real. Then again, in a world of living spirit metal and mind-controlling glitches, who was she to be so judgmental?
Facts.
The whole thing was ridiculous. Why would this be the line that she refused to cross? After all, the Pizzaplex was built over the burial ground of angry spirits, but it was the power cords that finally convinced her that something was wrong. Suddenly, these cords were striped black and white, like the security puppet from generations ago. The very foundations of this place, the materials and wires that constituted it were rebelling against her, against the Aftons, against the quest to bring them all together again. And it was being helped by something else, something slithering through the building. Maybe they were connected, she couldn't be sure, but a blob of living wires could be heard oozing through the walls, stealing pieces and parts of the old animatronics showcased in Rockstar Row. She could only assume that it was a byproduct of all the remnant they'd been collecting. From Afton's testing, she knew that both light and dark remnant existed, one of positive emotions and the other created from anguish, anger, agony. Perhaps this thing was an amalgamation of all the darkest parts of the pizzeria's history, a collection of the hatred still housed inside these defunct endoskeletons and exosuits.
I'm
as long as
so,
it was left alone,
like-
it seemed to be harmless. But if any Afton outside of Michael got too close, it would lash out wildly. Even young Gregory, looking to punish the family that had been complicit in its horrible creation. Little did she know, though, that Gregory should have been her biggest concern, that bringing the family together would have some unforeseen consequences. Gregory was normally the goodest of boys.
How did he piece together that Gregory was a robot?
But lately, he'd been disappearing more and more often, disobeying her orders. Requests. She knew that he loved playing on the arcade machines once the Pizzaplex closed, being so good as to top the leaderboard on practically all of them. But lately, he was nowhere to be found. She suspected his absence had to do
And I
with
guess that
Rock
makes
Freddy's
sense.
failed performance the other night, when he
Why he has no
malfunctioned
parents?
live on stage, almost
But-
as though the core programming of Freddy responded to seeing this rebuilt small boy, almost like it was
Oh,
built
bro!
to make sure that Vanessa was.
Bro, cause oh my god, bro! Imagine being Mike inside Freddy and seeing your brother again out of nowhere. But like, I guess he didn't know because Clara didn't get to put it all into motion. I guess like it was in motion, but she didn't get to put all the pieces together or something. I don't know,
But she'd
bro.
come to learn that Vanessa wasn't enough.
This is
Whether it was
crazy.
the influence of the nightmare puppet or a reawakened hatred of animatronics seated deep in Gregory's code, something had caused him to rebel, to rip apart each animatronic in the Pizzaplex. Bit by bit, this boy was tearing down the empire that she'd so painstakingly built, freeing Vanessa from her mind control,
How does-
destroying the remains of Afton in the basement, setting Glamrock Freddy loose. As her carefully created world crumbled around
How does-
her one more time, she began to plot her revenge.
You be alright, bro. You got
She would
the
have to bring
exams.
them all to ruin.
You'll pass. You're good.
There you have it, my friends. Nearly a decade in the making, my FNAF timeline for where the franchise is here in 2023. The year of Fazbear Frights, by the way. As always, it wouldn't be right for me to finish without going over some of the more controversial takes that I just handed out. I think we can all agree that this part of the timeline was always going to be the hardest. So let me just break down some of the major points. First of all, the biggest swing of this episode, and obviously the one that everything else rests upon, Mrs. Afton being the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment LLC. Here's why I went with this route. Now, first and foremost, the head of Fazbear Entertainment is the single biggest mystery that we're meant to solve at this point in the lore. The Ultimate Guide brings it up repeatedly. Who's running the show? Who is okaying these decisions? And in the security breach memos, we get multiple mentions of someone manipulating things from the top down. Whoever this is, they are the person driving forward every other facet of late-stage FNAF lore here. They're the puppet master who's hiring the indie dev. They're the ones relaunching the brand, building the Pizzaplex over the burial ground. So everything at the end of the timeline relies on this one singular answer. Now, as I see it, there are two possibilities here. One, an adult robot Elizabeth, like we see older versions of robot kids in the fourth closet, or Mrs. Afton. Could it be someone completely new to the franchise? Absolutely yes, but in a game with so many returning faces and repeated themes, it would be pretty random and arbitrary. So, between these two girl bosses, who then would it be? Well, Elizabeth always wants to please her daddy, so she'd be most likely wanting to bring him to life. But then, what's Vanessa's role in all of this? Vanessa is clearly meant to be a parallel for Elizabeth. Same hair, same eyes, similar backstories, but if the main goal is getting the Afton family back together, which seems to clearly be the case in Security Breach, then there's no need for Vanessa to be involved at all. We already have Elizabeth running the show. It would also mean that we suddenly have two robot kids running around, which feels narratively repetitive and quite frankly kind of dumb. Now look at Mrs. Afton. We know next to nothing about her outside of any clues that we can get from Immortal and the Restless and Bellora's song. But what her being head of Fazbear does is make every other piece of the lore fit. Suddenly, you can have one of every other type of character. One robot kid in Gregory, one brainwashed human in Elizabeth/Vanessa, one OG corpse in William, and one possessed animatronic in Mike. Narratively, it makes everything else cleaner. Legally, it's also the option that makes the most sense. As I call out in my narrative, she'd likely have some stake in the original company and all of its assets.
Does that really explain the big old, matter of fact, you know what? Ruin theory. Or did he already talk about this 2 months ago? That was 2 months ago. This was 7 months ago. Yeah, I need to hear about Ruin, bro. I need to hear about Ruin. I need to hear about this one, bro. Then we're good. Then we are good, bro. Like, who is that, man? Okay, what's the game? What game is it? That man's really no joke, bro. Ashura's Wrath? I would play that. I would. I played it before. I played only the demo.
Hello, Internet.
And I played full game.
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that is definitely the real deal and not a sentient robot designed to copy my voice. Today we begin our journey to solve the most anticipated DLC
ridiculous,
of the year,
bro.
Security Breach Ruin. Gotta admit, this DLC has been fantastic. Playing it really felt like Steel Wool learned from their mistakes. Gone is the open world that was big but empty. Gone is the brightly lit neon environments that stopped being scary. And gone are the insane glitches that made the game impossible to fully complete.
Whoa, hey. Whoa! We are not where we were.
This definitely feels like we've skipped something.
I think we broke the game. I think I broke the game for like the third time.
Okay, maybe not all the glitches are gone, and just so happened to be on my first playthrough, I managed to skip an entire chapter that was filled with the most lore, but hey, consider that my contribution to the speedrunning community. You can call that one the failed lore hunter skip in my honor. It'll be my crowning achievement in the world of gaming. Just to make sure that we're
only someone to have them at that, bro.
In the game, we play as a new character named Cassie, a young girl that's been called to the Pizzaplex by her friend and my personal favorite, maybe definitely robot kid, Gregory. Gregory tells us through a Roxy talkie that he's trapped under the sinkhole in Roxy Raceway. One staff bot jump scare later and we're handed a quote-unquote security mask, one that's meant to help us bypass certain puzzles while shutting down all the security nodes that are keeping Gregory locked down in the basement. But this, my friends, is not just any mask. This is Vanny's mask, the one that Vanessa wore throughout the entirety of Security Breach, making it pretty darn suspicious. Using this mask allows us to look into an augmented reality system, seeing things that we couldn't see before, making us invisible to certain enemies. We can suddenly walk through walls, deactivate security nodes, intentionally teleport, and as I demonstrated earlier, also accidentally teleport sometimes. Mask in hand, we make our way through the Pizzaplex, shutting down the security and encountering the various Glamrock animatronics from the original game, including the bestest boy Glamrock Freddy, though something's a little different about him this time.
What?
Quite put my finger on it. It's probably the fact that he's missing his head. All of this while running from a glitching bunny entity that'll summon animatronics to our location if we wear the Vanny mask for too long. Eventually, we deactivate all the security nodes, including Cassie's favorite Glamrock, Roxy.
Cassie, what are you doing?
So sorry.
This allows us to head on down to the basement where, surprise, surprise, it wasn't Gregory at all. Instead, it was an animatronic. See, told you guys Gregory was a robot this entire time. This thing right here is the Mimic, a bot designed to learn from and copy other people and robots. And whoopsie poopsie, we've just released it from its concrete prison. We run to the elevator to try to escape, only for the real Gregory to finally contact us and lead us to safety. The elevator is ultimately sabotaged by either Gregory or the Mimic, unclear who exactly, that's a theory that we're going to talk about later, and we fall into the game's ending with Cassie's fate being questionable at best. Honestly,
that's crazy.
There's so much happening in this game. True to form, the fanbase is just tying itself into knots arguing over all the little details. Did Gregory actually betray us in the end? What does the word prototype mean on Freddy's foot exactly? And what ending of Security Breach actually led us to this point in the timeline? Well, good news there, loyal theorists. I believe I have at least the first batch of questions answered, and oh boy, if I'm right, this game is drawn from one of the most controversial parts of the lore, while simultaneously setting us up for some massive reveals later this year. So grab your AR bunny masks, friends. We're about to see the hidden truth buried within the ruin. But before I do that, you know what complements a high-tech bunny mask? Our latest batch of theory wear. That's right, after almost a year's hiatus, we are back with a bunch of brand new designs.
Well, I'm not getting them.
Is so toward collection that I'm really
love you, Matt Pat. Love you, Matt Pat. I'm not buying that.
Match out at below half.
Golly, man!
You just cool very. That's the foundation.
I know you gotta sponsor yourself, but bro.
As style theory always says, keep looking sharp.
Dang,
now
bro.
Back to the
nice, Lopi. Thank you for chilling with me this long, bro. You was here for forever, so appreciate you, bro.
Something that really sets the foundation for the rest of Ruin. Which of the Security Breach endings is canon?
Facts.
Security Breach has had a weird relationship with its endings. Sure, some previous FNAF games have had multiple endings. Some have even had upwards of 7, but none has ever been so vague about what the intended ending was. Of Security Breach's 6 potential endings,
in the Wild Crocodile. I never heard in the Wild
felt
Crocodile.
Like real
in my
contenders
life.
For being the canon choice. The so-called true ending, 2-star ending where Gregory goes into the Pizzaplex's basement to fight Burntrap, ending in a collapse of the entire building, and the Princess Quest ending. The only 3-star ending of the game where Freddy's dismantled by staff bots and Gregory defeats the glitch trap virus controlling Vanessa. So now that Ruin's out, which actually happened? Well, we could say with near 100% certainty that it was Princess Quest. You see, Steel Wool did something that I would have never expected. They made the comic book style drawings of all the Security Breach endings into the linchpin of the whole debate.
What?
Are we collecting the endings from Security Breach as comics?
Yep, throughout Ruin, one of our main collectibles are comic strips. Comic strips depicting images from the base game's various endings. Comics that were created by none other than...
It's one of Gregory's comics.
Each comic comes with a little descriptor like that. These look like Gregory drew them. Gregory should be an artist when he grows up. Gregory was always so creative. That last line about Gregory being creative, that tells me that these endings are all made up. They're just stories that Gregory imagined for his own little comic series, inspired by the scary, true-to-life events of the franchise.
I'm glad
So
about
if they're
that.
made up, then how do we know that the
I'm glad about that because that ending I got when he's sleeping in the box was terrible, bruh. Oh my god, yo. I'm like, bruh, ain't no way it's ending. Ain't no way.
Take a look at this. These two are from the Gregory Escapes ending. These two are from the VIP ending. These are from the Loading Dock ending. This one is from the Disassemble Vanny ending. And then, last but not least, is the Burn Trap ending panel. Seems like a pretty extensive list, right? Except there's one ending that's noticeably absent here. Princess Quest. There isn't a single comic strip in all of Ruin depicting that ending, implying that that one, unlike all the others, was real. And if you look around at the rest of Ruin with this in mind, you start to realize why. In the Princess Quest ending, you have to beat the Princess Quest 3 arcade machine that's in Vanny's hideout. But when you visit that same hideout in Ruin, you find the machine on its side, with the princess's lantern sitting on top of it. She has conquered the virus, lighting the way to freedom. And if the lantern wasn't obvious enough symbolism for you, when you put on the Vanny mask and enter the AR world, you'll see the sword from Princess Quest 2 and 3 plunged into the machine. The beast has been slain.
Okay.
Actually, the fact that Cassie's given the Vanny mask in the first place also lines up with this ending, because it's the only ending where we actively see the mask getting left behind. It's actually a big focus of this panel right here, showing us that the mask being left behind is significant. It's still waiting around for someone, in this case Cassie, to find it and become the new Vanny. And then, last but not least, there's the fact that in Ruin we come across Freddy, sitting in a pile of rubble missing his head. Something that again only happens in the Princess Quest ending. So with our canonical ending established, let's just stop right there to talk a little bit more about Freddy, shall we? In Ruin we come across this headless Freddy, but it's unclear whether it's meant to be our Freddy from Security Breach or not. You see, this Freddy has the word prototype written across his foot, something that is
Big ol'
definitely
foot.
not present in the base game. He also has a green present hiding in his stomach, something that's awfully suspicious once you consider Security Breach started with Gregory taking an orange present out of Freddy's stomach. This can't possibly be the same robot then, right? This is one of the big debates that's captured the attention of the Faz base. If the Princess Quest ending is correct, then it kinda has to be the same Freddy. It would be very highly coincidental if not. So how then do you explain all these new features? Well, first, I think it's important to call out that design updates between games, it is nothing new for this franchise. Probably the best known example of this is the evolution of Springtrap in FNAF 3 to Scrap Trap in FNAF 6. William Afton's basic anatomy, it is nothing alike, despite it being the same dead body in the same rotten suit. Even in this
So
game,
ugly.
Candy Cadet, complete overhaul between his first appearance and now. Or just take a look at any of the other animatronics. Their endos are real different to the ones at the end of Security Breach, and yet each and every one of them has suffered the exact same damage that they did in the previous game. But one detail that can't be replicated is something that I think a lot of the community has started to overlook. Something that can't be denied, and it all relates back to the Vanny mask. We're told that this mask is known as the Virtual Augmented Neural Network Integration Unit, or VANI. As the name implies, it allows us to use augmented reality to physically see and access the neural network, that's just a fancy name for AI, controlling the Pizzaplex. Throughout the game, we use this ability to make fences disappear, access security nodes, and teleport from location to location. That much is obvious. What's less obvious, though, are how the various endoskeletons behave while we're wearing the mask. As we pass most normal endoskeletons in the game, we see them wrapped in swirling pink code. This shows that they're connected to the network. They're being powered by the AI system in charge of the Pizzaplex.
Makes
Now,
sense.
when Cassie has the Vanny mask off, they'll start chasing us. That's because we're suddenly visible to them. We're just a kid. We're a target. But notice what happens as soon as we put the mask on. They stop chasing us. Instead, they go back to what they were doing before. We've disappeared from them because we're integrated into the AI system. We're no longer a kid. We've become one with the code. It's actually pretty brilliant, subtle storytelling. But now let's get back to the topic at hand, our headless Freddy in Ruin. Unlike every other animatronic, when we put on the mask around Freddy, not only does he stop chasing us, he outright disappears. We can't see him anymore. And likewise, he can no longer see us. Why? What makes him so different? What does this try to tell us? Well, if the Vanny mask jacks us into the Pizzaplex's AI system, his disappearance tells us that he's not a part of that system. He is not swirling in pink code because he's removed from the Pizzaplex's network. How'd that happen? Well, we saw it at the top of Security Breach.
Oh, he started
Freddy glitches
tweaking.
out and has to be rebooted in safe mode. That's why he's friendly to Gregory in a way that none of the other animatronics are. He's no longer under the control of the AI network controlling the Pizzaplex. In a sense, you could say he's thinking for himself. And we see this continue throughout the entirety of Security Breach. Whenever Gregory sees Vanny running around, Freddy states that he didn't see anything.
You didn't see the dancing rabbit lady right in front of us?
No, I did not. There is no rabbit at the Mega Pizza.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Vanny is very clearly real,
Yeah,
but
so-
she's wearing her mask, thereby making her invisible to the one robot that isn't a part of the wider AI system. That only changes when Freddy is equipped with Roxy's eyes. Roxy's eyes in that game were a part of the AI system, which is why that upgrade suddenly allows Freddy to see things that were formerly invisible to him. He's seeing everything that's a part of the AI network, and that includes Vanny.
Vanny, I can see you now. I have new eyes.
This one detail is why I feel that ruined Freddy here has to be the same as our best boy from Security Breach. This is a Freddy that has been removed from the system, one that was rebooted in safe mode, taking him offline, something that almost guarantees that he has to be connected to the Freddy from the original game. Weird Freddy curveballs aside though, this game makes it abundantly clear that I was right on the money with my last few theories about how AI is now the major focus of the series, and specifically AI programs that have been corrupted by Glitch Trap, Afton's old evil data. Hence,
That's
like,
crazy.
everything is wrapped in this purple or
The
pink
fact that this
code.
man really
Well,
put
everything
his
except for Roxy.
him
Instead of
into
being made out of
code.
purple code like the rest of the animatronics,
Like, what?
Instead has sections of her body made up of green code, specifically around her face, her arm, and her foot, making her look a lot like she did at the beginning of Security Breach. It's strange, right? But it actually ties into
I
our
love
previous
Roxy.
theories. This neural network controlling the Pizzaplex isn't just influenced by Afton. According to the books, the AI program was originally built to play with Charlie, a girl that wore a green wristband in order for the security puppet to protect her. That's why we see Tiger Rock, the book's manifestation of this same AI, with two colored eyes. It has evil and good data inside of it, and different animatronics are tapped into different amounts of that same code. That's why Roxy is surrounded by green code that makes her look like she was originally supposed to. Green is the color of protection, of safety. Her influence is now putting green markers over the parts of the system that are good. This duality
Love
is actually
Roxy,
best
bro.
exemplified by, believe it or not, the daycare attendant, Sun and Moon, or Eclipse, as they're known when fused together. Since the beginning of Security Breach, this thing's presence in the game has always felt very random. Like, why is he
Can't
here?
stand him,
Just
bro.
to be another scary thing to chase us around? Maybe, but that doesn't tend to be how these games work. And why would they choose such a random design of being both light and darkness, sun and moon? Well, now we know. In one of Ruin's many lore-heavy Easter eggs, if you go up to him with the mask on while there's only one generator left to activate, you'll hear a new line that states,
No! It's not safe yet! Turn on the other generator!
clearly, Eclipse is conflicted. One half wants to protect you, but it's getting shut away by the darker, more sinister half. He is good and evil combined. He represents both codes competing within the same body. Other animatronics are more of a sliding spectrum. Some are more corrupt than others. But Eclipse represents the balance that naturally exists within this neural network system. Which leads us then to the ending of the game. Whether Gregory is actually the one trying to kill Cassie in the final moments is a theory for another day. Instead, I'd rather focus on this, the Mimic.
I don't think I ever know that
At
other
the end of
theory,
the
huh?
game, we're chased by an endoskeleton known as the Mimic, a robot that's able to learn from and copy other creatures. But even before we get to the elevator, Gregory tells us his friend, presumably Vanessa, has these plans for the underground tunnels.
My friend has access to the building map. Just follow the instructions.
But what are the tunnels? Why are they here? Who put them here? These tunnels aren't just random. Someone has been down here before. They've installed lighting and an elevator and everything. We also know it wasn't Gregory and Vanessa because they're on the opposite side of the room that the Mimic was locked in, the Pizzaplex side, complete with the mixes system. We also know that these tunnels weren't just part of the FNAF 6 location because the game makes it a point to show that we're a number of floors far below that building. It tells us that this location has to be older than the FNAF 6 pizzeria. So again I ask, what are these tunnels for and why are they here? Well, the clues to finding that answer are hidden in the Mimic's room. Normally you wouldn't be able to see any of this stuff. You break down the wall, you enter a cutscene, and the Mimic starts to chase you. However, at this point, Steel Wool understands that the internet gonna do what the internet gonna do. We're gonna rip into the files, we're gonna free cam our way all across these maps, and we're gonna crank up the brightness hunting for clues. And sure enough, there is a lot that's hidden just out of sight. Inside the Mimic's room are two costumes, a grandma bird and an elephant clown. There also seems like there's supposed to be a third costume, a lion wearing a varsity jacket, but that one I was only able to find in the game files. That said, in one of the game's secret endings, the Mimic wears a costume that's kind of a mix of all three of these things, so that's the evidence that we need there. And overall, it's a pretty interesting find. We know from the books that the Mimic is a fan of wearing costumes. In the Mimic story, as well as the Pizzaplex epilogues, we know that the Mimic mainly cycles between two costumes, a mushroom and a jester. In the story, Edwin, our parallel for the game's Henry, was responsible for turning those costumes into animatronics for Fazbear. And that right there, that's an important detail. You see, the books make it clear that those costumes came from a time before Edwin made Chica into the first animatronic. In other words, these off-branded characters like a jester and a mushroom predate everything else that we see in the games. They come from a time before the core lineup of characters was officially decided. When Edwin disappears after the death of his son, Fazbear Entertainment goes to his abandoned home and reclaims all of their property. The Mimic, the costumes, everything. Think this is only specific to the books? It's not. I suspect that we've been hearing about these costumes ever since Night 4 of FNAF 3.
Until replacements arrive, you'll be expected to wear the temporary costumes provided to you. Keep in mind that they were found on very short notice, so questions about appropriateness/relevance should be deflected.
But that's not all. On your way down to the FNAF 6 location,
I'm still trying to wrap my head around like when
bioluminescent mushrooms and waterfalls. This immediately felt weird to me.
When this takes place in between games.
In a place like this, a place that is outside of a building location in this franchise. So why now? Why this particular setting? Why such a beautiful cave with such specific details? It's odd because we've never seen anything like this in the entire series.
Facts.
Well, almost never. In the second novel, The Twisted Ones. As a friendly reminder, that's the one where the main character gets vored by an animatronic in the end. Good memories had by all. When Charlie awakens from being trapped inside one of the twisted animatronics, she finds herself inside of an old Freddy Fazbear pizzeria. As she explores, she too discovers a cave system with, wait for it, glowing mushrooms and a waterfall. What does it mean? Well, the more I looked into it, the more I realized the strong parallels between Ruin and the original novel trilogy. In both cases, we follow a young girl who's looking for a boy the same age as her that goes missing. She finds an old pizzeria buried below a mall, and when she goes down there to where she believes the boy's calling from, it's revealed to be a trap. Am I saying Cassie is Charlie? No, I might one day, but for now I'm
Isn't
still
Charlie the one that
I do think that there are clear connections between this game and those books that are directly being called to our attention. And what's the primary location for the final book in the series? The location where this story finally comes to its ultimate conclusion: Circus,
Pizza
Babies, Pizza World. Look again at the costumes that we...
So Security Breach takes place before like it's the first one. It's the first in the timeline. It's the first official game.
We see in the Mimic's room an elephant, clown, and a lion, both animals that are commonly associated with circuses. The grandma bird actually looks a lot like a crow to me, with its wide yellow beak and its dark blue coloring, which again reminds me of the Disney film Dumbo, another circus-based film that stars crows and an elephant attraction. The elephant is even wearing a clown outfit, for crying out loud. It is practically screaming at us that these costumes were designed to be mascots for circus babies. It's why when they were brought into Fazbear's as backup costumes, like Phone Guy said, their relevance was questioned, because Fazbear never had a circus theme or revealed any of these sorts of characters. They were Williams from a long time before. But that's not all. Throughout Ruin, there are secret plush baby rooms where the dolls troll you, and a whole suite of plush baby AR collectibles that specifically call out how weird it is that these things are here. This is Fazbear, not circus babies. There is no reason to call out all of these parallels unless it is specifically to call our attention to Circus Baby. These locations are connected somehow. But the final nail in the coffin for me comes thanks to one of the secret endings in the game. After the Mimic chases you in costume, you end up in a locked room where you hit a big old red button and a claw-like machine comes down from the ceiling, grabs the Mimic, and defeats it, at least for now. And what's that ending called in the game files? The scooper ending. This thing right here, it is a scoop. And where's the only other place that we've ever seen a scoop used? Circus Babies. An underground bunker that you can only access via an elevator. Oh wait, that describes exactly where we are. Now, remind me again what game is coming out later this year? One that has a trailer starting in the sister location elevator. One where we see a very familiar security panel from Ruin down in the bottom right corner. Help Wanted 2, the second VR game. The Mimic has been around much, much longer than any of us suspected, and we're gonna find out more about him in the next VR installment coming this winter. This has all sorts of implications. For one, the parallels between the Mimic and Ennard are undeniable. An animatronic that's an amalgamation of a bunch of other animatronics. What makes this one even more interesting is that the books just confirmed all games up through FNAF 6 as being games in-universe of the Pizzaplex. So was Ennard just a fictional version of the Mimic the whole time? Again, that's a theory.
In-universe of the
Pizzaplex. Interesting is
Pizzaplex.
that the books just confirmed all games up through FNAF 6 as being games in-universe of the Pizzaplex. So was Ennard just a fictional version of the Mimic the whole time? Again, that's a theory for another day. But more importantly, this actually has some massive timeline implications as well. Part of the reason it always felt tough for me to place Circus Babies into a timeline is because it closes after the death of Elizabeth. That always felt like a good starting point for Afton to then begin seeking eternal life and to put people back together. But what didn't make sense is why Baby would have a claw mechanism in her chest to capture kids. Afton wouldn't need to capture kids until after he had lost his child. But if Circus Babies was actually much earlier in the timeline, like these old costumes seem to suggest, things start to fall into place. Henry was the initial robotics genius. Afton just had the ideas and then gave them to Henry to turn into animatronics, like what we see with Edwin in the Mimic stories. I always brush this little detail off as confusing, but before the release of Sister Location, we got this ending from FNAF World, where Henry sits at a desk talking about the evil that he created before he unalives himself, just like what we see him do in the novel trilogy. At that point, we see a pair of glowing eyes, and Baby's voice calls out,
"Everyone, please stay in your seats."
This all implied that Henry was the creator of Baby, not William, despite Afton's name being the one on the copyright. But now I think we have an answer that solves all of this. William went back to collect his costumes after Henry's disappearance, just like what we see happen in the books. When he does this, he also finds the Mimic program, deciding to use its programming and technology for his own creations. The Funtime animatronics, who can do what? They have the ability to mimic voices. We see Baby doing the exact same thing in Sister Location when she mimics the voice of Elizabeth to try and lure Michael to his death. I suspected in my last theory that Baby was still at play here. That's why Tiger Rock's eyes are blue and green, Elizabeth and Charlie. And given everything that we just talked about today, I have no doubt that this is still very much the case. How it's gonna play out, though, we'll have to see in FNAF VR 2 later this year. Obviously, there's gonna be more to cover here in the coming weeks, specifically about Gregory, Cassie, and Cassie's dad, but more on that one next time, because in the meantime, remember that our brand new line of merch...
Wait, what do you mean next time? You say next time is our... Maybe this is the next time. Hold on. Why you hate my theories? Hold on. It is this one is the next one. Man! Alright, I can't watch that one tonight, yo. I can't watch one tonight. I would, but I can't, bro. I can't. I'm tired. This was fun though. But bro, trying to understand all of it is just so much, bro. This series is something else, bro. I'm out. I love you guys. Happy Halloween, y'all. It's still Halloween, so it's not, the day ain't over yet. I love you guys. I'm out. Goodbye. Enjoy your holiday. Hope y'all got candy. Hope y'all have fun. I'm out. See you guys tomorrow. More Subject Emissary tomorrow. Love you guys. Goodbye.